So welcome to the Get Healthy Dinner Talk tonight. Some of you here already have a really good program for keeping yourself healthy. Some of you not so much. Maybe you're picking up a tip here in the newspaper. Maybe you're picking up a tip on the internet and you're really a little confused and you lack a little focus. Some of you would love to be healthier. You'd love to lose weight. You'd like to have more energy, more stamina, get more exercise, but you haven't got a clue as to how to get started. And some of you are like a friend of mine, a patient that came in a week ago who said, you know what, I'm 72 years old. This is the year that I'm going to get healthy. You know, maybe if you're 72, 71, you don't want to wait till next year. Anyway, tonight, we have information that's going to help you in your journey to bring this healthiest possible you. Two things to keep in mind tonight. Number one, recovering your health, improving your health, maintaining your health is the most natural thing in the world. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It can be easy. And number two, small, incremental steps sustained over a long period of time will bring really significant results, and you will feel better. Now, before we get to our journey, let's look at where we are right now. The United States spends a higher portion of their gross national product than any other country in the world on health care. We spend $8,000 per person in the United States. Canada is number 2 with $4,000. The average, 1/2 of the citizens of the United States take a prescription medication. 1 out of 3 takes 6 prescription medications or more. The average senior citizen takes 8 prescription medications. Many senior citizens take 15 or more prescription medications every single day. The United States only represents 5% of the population of this planet, but we consume over half of the prescription medications in the world. That's 25 million prescription medication doses every single hour. Now, you would think that for all of that money, all of that medicine, all of that technology, that we really should be the healthiest nation in the world, right? Not even close. Americans' average health is 39th in a list of 191 countries. Our life expectancy is 50th out of all the countries in the world. 50th. We are behind small countries like Greece, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Czech Republic. Now, don't you think that for all the money that we spend, all the drugs that we take, and all of the high technology that we are so proud of, that we should be healthier? You know, 50 years ago, Americans had the longest life expectancy on this planet. 50 years ago. And now we're in 50th place, literally in a race for our lives. Our children, your children, are the first generation that is on target to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. Now, if technology and medicine and money were the answer, we should still be on top and we should be getting stronger every single year, and we are not. So we need to look somewhere else for the problem, and we need to look somewhere else for the solution. Now, here's a stunning fact. In developed nations, more than 50% of premature death, and really that's what we're talking about tonight, premature death, is the result of bad behavior. Bad diet, stressful lifestyles, lack of exercise, toxic behaviors like smoking. Less than 10% is attributable to genetics. That means that most of what kills us is entirely preventable just by changing our behaviors. Now think about the fact that every single year we spend trillions and trillions of dollars researching cures for diabetes, heart disease, depression, stroke, and cancer, when all that we know tells us that it's our own behavior that's causing these problems. We've developed an over-reliance on modern medicine to get us out of a problem that we're digging ourselves into every single day. It's kind of like hitting yourself over the head and then spending millions and millions of dollars looking for a cure for a headache. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of modern medicine. I'm really grateful that it is as good as it is. But I just believe that playing with matches and setting your house on fire and then waiting for the fire truck that may or may not come to put the fire out in time doesn't make as much sense as practicing good fire safety in the first place. So in the words of Benjamin Franklin, an ounce of is worth a pound of cure. Now, there is some good news in all of this. if our behaviors are what are killing us young, then we can change those behaviors and we can reverse those trends. Now tonight, I want to break through a lot of the misinformation, a lot of the confusion, and empower you with a proactive program to get healthy, live longer, and really feel great from now on just by doing 5 simple things. Now here's what's going to happen when you follow this 5-step program. You will reverse the effects of the years of unwise decisions. And you will actually start getting physically younger instead of getting older. And I can promise you as a result that you'll live longer, you'll live more comfortably, you'll increase in strength and energy and stamina, and you'll retard the effects and the appearance of aging. Now keep in mind 4 principles. Number 1, little changes sustained over a long period of time will bring really measurable and noticeable results. Number 2, it's never too late to start. Number 3, it's never too soon to start. And number 4, if you practice a good habit for 21 days, you will form a lifelong habit. Now, you don't have to write down any of the stuff we're going to tell you tonight. We have a handout that we're going to email you at the end of this evening that contains all of our recommendations with specifics, a glossary of terms that you've been introduced to tonight. And what I want you to do tonight is to sit back and relax and imagine that I am describing a lifestyle that you already subscribe to. A lifestyle that supports your health, your longevity, and leaves you filled with the energy and strength to do the things that you really want to do. So let's get healthy. Now these are the 5 action steps. Now let's take them one at a time. The first one is eat consciously and strategically. This is really just another way of saying eat well. So how are we going to do that? Well, the dietary changes that we want to outline for you here tonight have 4 primary goals as guiding principles. The first is to provide ample nutrients. These are the fats, carbohydrates, proteins, and the vitamins and minerals that you need to sustain healthy body functions. And then secondly, to reduce chronic systemic inflammation that is such an important part of many serious diseases, including Alzheimer's, fibromyalgia, heart disease, arthritis, allergies, depression, symptoms of aging, and many forms of cancer. And then the third thing is to improve insulin sensitivity. Now, insulin resistance, which is the opposite of insulin sensitivity, is when your body becomes exhausted by a constant insulin bombardment and it becomes immune or unresponsive to the normal functions of insulin. It is the major cause of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. You know, on a sad note, we used to call type 2 diabetes adult onset diabetes. And we can't do that anymore because it's appearing more often in our young children. And then the last thing we want to do on this list is we want to deliver antioxidants against free radicals. Now, free radicals are chemicals which damage the body cells and cause the physical signs of aging. Free radical damage within the cells has been linked to cancer, arthritis, Parkinson's disease, diabetes, atherosclerosis, cataracts, wrinkled skin, Alzheimer's, and schizophrenia. Now, let me review for you the standard American diet. It is high in calories, fat, animal protein, sugar, additives, and processed foods. It is high in the whites. That's white flour, sugar, salt, white rice, and dairy. It's low in fruits, grains, legumes, and vegetables, and fiber. It's usually convenient food. It's fast food. It's snack food. It's cheap to manufacture. It's cheap to distribute. It is very profitable, and it is very aggressively marketed to us. It uses fat, sugar, and salt as appetite triggers. Now, humans have evolved a craving for fat, sugar, and salt because historically, those were the nutrients that attracted us to other nutrients that we really required. So when you market using fat, sugar, and salt as triggers, these cravings make marketing this food like selling drugs to an addict. This diet is also referred to as the SAD. Don't eat this. Now here is a 7-word guideline for eating consciously and strategically. Eat food, mostly plants, and not too much. Now, eat food means to eat real food. This is food that your grandmother would recognize. Food that you could prepare on your own if you wanted to. Food with fewer than 5 ingredients that you don't recognize. Food with ingredients that don't sound like a chemistry PhD textbook. You can find this food on the outside perimeter of the grocery store. This is where the fresh produce is. Stay away from the inside of the grocery store where the packaged and processed foods are. Read labels carefully. If you pick up a loaf of whole wheat bread, it's very common that whole wheat is the second or even the third ingredient. Only enough whole wheat in the ingredients to allow them to use whole wheat on the label. And on a side note, kind of on that same token, be aware of health claims on food packages. My family and I went to the movies the other day and we saw a box of Raisinets that said, Raisinets is a good source of antioxidants. Now, many of the cookies that are sold to you that say sugar reduced are very high in sodium and they're high in fat. Granola bars that are all natural and high in fiber are loaded with fat and they're loaded with sugar calories. As a general rule, a health claim on the package of a food product usually means that it's not really food. Now, some foods to avoid or to greatly reduce. High glycemic index carbs like sugars and refined starches. This would include candies, cakes, pies, basically your desserts. Stay away from them. Fruit juices, because they contain all the sugar in the fruit and they don't contain the fiber. And artificial sweeteners. A note about artificial sweeteners. Certain diseases like Lou Gehrig's disease, some brain cancers, and Alzheimer's have really only appeared in our human health profile since the introduction of aspartame into the food supply. If you think that artificial sweeteners will help you to get skinny, think again. Drinking as few as 3 Diet Pops a week increases your risk for obesity by 40%. Rats given artificial sweeteners consumed more calories because the sweeteners will trigger hungers and cravings and will lead to overeating. Avoid processed foods and foods with additives. The white foods that we spoke of earlier. Trans fat, especially in fried foods. And soda pop, which contains 4 products which even in small quantities are really not good for you. That is high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, phosphoric acid, and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide increases the acidity in our blood, leaches calcium out of our bones, and as a side note, it is one of the reasons that increasingly we are noticing osteoporosis in teenagers. Osteoporosis used to be a disease that only occurred in little old ladies. The next thing on the list of how to eat is mostly plants. Reduce the amount of animal protein that you eat. Now, animal protein would be meat, that's beef, but yes, it also includes chicken and fish. I have patients come in and say, well, I don't eat meat, I just eat chicken and fish. If it has a face on it, it's meat, so don't eat it. I'm not saying don't eat it, but reduce the quantity of it. Also, eggs and cheese would be animal proteins. So that particular staple should be a smaller portion of your diet. We recommend that you eat a portion no larger than a deck of cards at any single meal. You might also try planning meatless meals. Eat from the full spectrum of vegetable colors. The vegetable colors indicate which of the antioxidants that you're getting. I mentioned antioxidants earlier. Each color represents a different antioxidant, and a wide variety of antioxidants makes the whole antioxidant process much more effective against the free radicals. Increase your beans and legumes and root vegetables. Increase your fiber intake. A good goal for fiber intake is 40 to 50 grams per day. Many Americans, the average Americans, get 15 grams or less in a day. Increasing your fiber is very easy if you're decreasing meat, because the food that you eat instead, typically vegetables and fruits, are higher in fiber. Eat a wider variety of grains, oats, quinoa, barley, farro. Be adventurous and try new foods. Now, gluten is a protein in wheat that gives bread its bubbles, and 25% of the population of the country is gluten sensitive. If you're one of these people, you may have health problems that range all the way from an ill-defined digestive disorders, bloating, retaining water, lethargy, and brain fog, all the way up to full-blown and life-threatening bowel disease. So to see if you might benefit from a gluten-free diet, we recommend that you try it for 6 weeks. And if you notice an improvement, then you can stick with it. If you're not sure at the end of 6 weeks whether you have noticed an improvement, then rapidly reintroduce gluten into your system. And if you do have a sensitivity, you should notice a difference within 4 to 6 weeks. On a side note, I'm at the end of my 6th week of my gluten-free diet. And so tomorrow I'm going to pig out on pizza and stand back. We'll see what happens. Anyway. And then the last thing in this is not too much. Decrease your portions. Eat smaller portions. There was a study done a little while ago in which paintings of the Last Supper were studied that had been painted over the last 1,500 years. The size of the food portion in front of each of the disciples was compared to the size of the heads of the disciples. And it turned out that over the last 1,500 years, our food portion size have increased 3 times. We now eat 3 times as much as we used to. We just eat entirely more than we need to sustain health. Now, you can start a better diet. Here's some diet changing tips. First of all, start a better diet by adding something good before you take away something bad. So adding something like an apple or a pear on a daily basis before you take away whatever it is, the Twinkies or whatever it is you're going to get rid of. Try being vegetarian on a selective basis. And I'm not saying that everybody should be a vegetarian. I don't know that anybody should be. But try being vegetarian at certain points, so certain times of the day or certain days of the week. When you eat at a restaurant, as the waiter brings your food, cut each portion of the food in half. Ask the waiter to box it up for you to take home. And now you have lunch for tomorrow, you've cut your food bill in half, and you've developed a really good healthy habit. Now, I promise you, and you'll be very surprised at this, 20 minutes after you're done eating, you won't be any hungrier than you were the night before when you ate everything on your plate. And you also won't have the discomfort, that distended belly feeling and knowing that you ate too much. Now, supplements, our next thing that we want you to do, there's certain supplements that we recommend that you take. Supplements are not a substitute for good, real food. They do act as a safety net, and they make a measurable improvement on our health. Now, in our practice, we've seen that with a minor exception of those patients that are already on a really good, solid nutritional program, that all of our patients will experience a significant, noticeable improvement in how they feel within 30 to 60 days. It's not a long time. So within 2 months of starting the supplement program, they'll notice a difference. Now, these are the 5 basic supplements that we believe everybody would benefit from. First of all, omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3 is a very powerful in preventing and reversing heart disease, which currently is our #1 killer. It also plays a major role in fighting obesity, depression, dementia, and joint pain. We recommend that all of our patients start at 1,500 milligrams a day, but for those with chronic joint pains, we recommend 3,000 milligrams for the first 3 months. When the joint pains subside, they can drop back to 1,500 milligrams. A probiotic. Your gut contains natural, friendly bacteria which are absolutely necessary to maintain proper digestion and to convert many foods into vital nutrients. And these are killed by the antibiotics that you take as medicine. They're killed by antibiotics that are contained in food you eat. Specifically, chicken and beef are most often manufactured using antibiotics to fatten the animals up. And they're also killed by drinking chlorinated water, since chlorine is put into water to what? Kill bacteria. So when you drink the water with chlorine, it also kills the bacteria in your gut. 70% of your immune function rests in your gut, and probiotics will improve your immune system. They will improve absorption of vital nutrients, and they are a very effective treatment for many digestive disorders, including stomach and bowel pain. The third thing on the list is vitamin D. Vitamin D3 is the sunshine vitamin, which means if you live in Michigan, you've got a problem right off the bat. It's extremely it's vital for a healthy immune system. And this is why the winter is flu season. We get less vitamin D from the sun, and low levels of vitamin D will result in susceptibility to the flu. So that's why it's flu season. Low vitamin D levels will also result in depression, obesity, diabetes, memory problems, joint and muscle pain, and many forms of cancer. Low levels also decrease the hormone that turns off your appetite, and it leads to being hungry all the time. It's why so many people gain weight over the winter. Again, not enough vitamin D3, they build food cravings, and they start eating more than they need to. So taking vitamin D3 oftentimes can reduce food cravings. You can have your blood levels of vitamin D3 checked, but if you're in Michigan, trust me, in all probability, you're deficient in it. Next one is magnesium. Magnesium is needed for more than 300 important biochemical reactions in our body. So when our patients start taking magnesium, they will report a wide variety of symptomatic improvements. It has a very calming effect. It has a calming effect. It is very effective against muscle cramping. It's effective against rapid heartbeat. It fights osteoporosis, and it aids in preventing and managing high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. A high-quality multivitamin acts as kind of a safety net. It kind of patches up some of the holes in your diet, things that you may not be getting. And coenzyme Q10, if you are over 50, taking a statin medication, or if you are at risk for heart disease. Coenzyme Q10 is very important for strong heart function, and ironically, statin medications that people take to help manage their cholesterol destroy natural reserves of coenzyme Q10 and put those individuals at a higher risk for heart disease. Next thing on the list is to get more exercise. Now, fit people find weight management much easier. Why? Because when you build muscles, muscles burn fat. Fit people have greatly reduced stress hormone levels. They have less depression. They have less body pain. They're physically stronger and their bones stay stronger, and they look and they feel younger, they feel better, they live longer. Now, people that are deconditioned, a loss of physical fitness leads to a loss of muscle. It leads to weight gain, particularly fat gain, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is up 39% in the last 10 years. Almost a 40% increase in 10 years. That technically qualifies as an epidemic. Loss of fitness also leads to more chronic inflammation, fatigue, depression, and typically really to premature death. Light exercising, like walking, 5 times a week for 30 minutes can lower your risk of heart disease by 50%. 50%. Do a mental experiment with me for a moment. Imagine that Pfizer now announces that they have a drug which will reduce your risk of heart disease by 50%. It has no known side effects except that it makes you healthier. And it's free. Every single physician, I think you would agree, would be insisting that their patients take it, wouldn't they? Every single patient would be pounding on the doors of the physicians going, I want that stuff. Here it is. Moderate exercise, like a weight or a step class, 3 times a week for 30 minutes has the same effect. And more rigorous exercise, like team sports, 45 minutes twice a week, same effect. 50% reduction in heart disease. It's that simple. We will give you tips in your information package on making your exercise program easier and getting it started more easily as well. The 4th thing on the list is to manage psychological and emotional stress. People don't think about this because they don't think of this as a health problem. They think of emotional stress as just kind of being bummed out. But states of chronic stress cause constant production of stress hormones, which are originally designed to be short-term and for emergency use only. And when those stress hormones are turned on full-time all the time, serious health consequences ensue. Overproduction of cortisol, which is the #1 stress hormone, results in weight gain, particularly in potbelly weight gain. You see skinny people with a big potbelly, that's a high cortisol level. It also leads to osteoporosis. It leads to angry mood swings. Why? Cortisol is a steroid. You remember roid rage? Well, cortisol is a steroid, and it literally over a period of time will produce a variety of roid rage. People that are angry all the time and have difficulty controlling their emotions. It also produces other mood swings and depression. Now, do the following things will help you reduce chronic stress. Get regular and vigorous aerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise produces in the brain a chemical we refer to as endorphins. Endorphin is short for endogenous morphine, and it's not morphine, but it does use the same receptor sites and has a calming effect. Stress relieving slow movement exercises like yoga, tai chi, and Pilates. Avoid drugs or medications that may increase or cause stress. Reduce alcohol consumption. Get more sleep. A lack of sleep is a very strong producer of increased levels of cortisol in the body. Organize your life and manage your time better. One of the highest reasons for stress in our body is the feeling that we just don't have enough time to do all the stuff that we have in front of us to do. Talk about your stress with friends or a support group. Get a massage. Take vacation. Take a breathing exercise every day. 5 to 10 minutes, sitting in a quiet room, breathing slowly, deeply, deliberately, intentionally. If you want an interesting exercise, and if you happen to an interesting experiment, and if you happen to have a blood pressure cuff at home, take your blood pressure, do 10 minutes of slow, intentional, deliberate, and deep breathing. Take your blood pressure again. I promise you that your blood pressure will be reduced in that amount of time. In that amount of time. Now we come to the last one. Maintain a healthy brain-body connection. And this is my favorite because as a chiropractor, this is what I do. We chiropractors are the brain-body connection specialists, kind of the IT guy of the nervous system. Now, people under regular chiropractic care commonly report the following benefits. Stronger immunity, fewer lost work days, less body aches and pain, moving, walking better, improving athletic performance, better sleep, improved sex life, better mental and emotional health, lower stress levels, improved quality of life, and greater overall health and well-being. Now, here are the results of a very small portion of the many studies done on the benefits of chiropractic care. 200% stronger immune system than control, 60% decrease in hospital admissions, 62% decrease in surgeries, 85% decrease in pharmaceutical costs. Why would there be an 85% decrease in pharmaceutical cares for people under regular chiropractic care? Because when your body is working well, you're not coming down with all the illnesses, not coming down with all the symptoms, and you don't need all the drugs and the medication to cover up a problem because the problem doesn't exist in the first place. The average senior spends $600 a month on medications. Now, if we made an 82%, I don't have my calculator here, anybody got 82% times $600? It's a lot of money. It is much more than those individuals would spend on the cost of chiropractic care. Chiropractic is a good investment. It's certainly cheaper than the medical care that people use to replace it with. Now let me give you a quick synopsis of how chiropractic works. These are the vertebrae in your spine. Here's a closer view. You'll see those little gray spacers between the vertebrae are the discs. These yellow cords coming out of there are the nerves. Now you can see in this diagram that the brain connects through these nerves and the spinal cord to all of the various parts of the body, all of the different organs of the body. And this network of nerves carries data traffic in two different directions. Information about what is going on in the world around you and what is going on in the environment inside of you goes through those nerves and up to the brain, and then instructions from the brain go to the various organs on what to do to adapt to that change in the environment. So if your hand is on a hot stove, that information goes in, and then your brain sends a message, take your hand off the hot stove right now because it's burning. If you run, you use up all the oxygen in your muscles, and then information goes up through the nerves into your brain. Your brain now sends messages out saying, breathe more deeply, breathe more rapidly. The heart should beat more rapidly. Those are the messages go out. So is it any wonder that we say that the key to good health is a healthy brain-body connection? Now, unfortunately, our spines are constantly subject to traumas. Work, gardening, sports injuries, automobile accidents, lifting, twisting, bending, shoveling the snow, doing yard work. Injuries to the vertebrae cause degenerative arthritis, which essentially is a decay in the vertebrae. And as you can see here, those joints that house the spinal nerves can pinch, twist, stretch, rub, press, or irritate the delicate nerves that connect the body to the central nervous system. Spinal joint injuries cause pain and symptoms along the pathway of the nerve that's being pinched. They cause dysfunction in the organs that those nerves are supposed to be controlling. They cause reduced immune system function, and they cause an impaired ability of the body to heal itself. Now, like these down telephone wires, this disrupts the flow of nerve messages between the brain and the organs and the tissue of the body. This nerve interference will cause tissues and organs to sicken and to malfunction. And even if this malfunction is small at first, it accumulated over a period of years, it will result in major illness and disease and seriously degrade your health. These injuries oftentimes go undetected, and they go untreated for years, and they result in chronic conditions. Now, when you look at this, you're going to say, well, if I had one of those, I would know about it, because that really looks pretty painful. But would it surprise you to know that 90% of the nerves in the spine are not pain-carrying nerves, and they don't feel pain when they are injured? And so you can have a serious problem, a serious depression of your level of health, and not have any back pain at all. Now here's a list of conditions that we successfully treat on a regular basis in the office. And I'm going to read these really fast because it's a long list. Headaches, TMJ syndrome, hearing problems, sinus pain, allergies, neck pain, carpal tunnel syndrome, shoulder pain, high blood pressure, frequent colds or flu, digestive problems, kidney and bladder problems, postural abnormalities, low back pain, hip pain, constipation, erectile dysfunction, menstrual problems, sciatica, children's problems such as asthma or infectious colic, and many more. Now, I want you to notice that neck pain and low back pain are the only ones that I put up here in red. And I did that because all too often, that's the only thing that people associate with chiropractic care. But if you look at this list and you recognize something on there that you have, you don't need more medical care and more medical attention. You need a chiropractic examination. You need to find out if you have nerve interference that's causing this problem, fix the problem so it'll go away and the body heals itself. Now here is what I absolutely know after 36 years of active practice and treating literally thousands of patients. The greatest health secret is that a healthy spine and nervous system and a healthy brain-body connection is the most important health factor of all. Now let me give you an analogy. Back here on the wall, we have this high-definition television, right? And I think you'll all agree that that's a beautiful picture. It's nice, it's clear, it's crisp. But here's what I know. If the cable that takes this picture, that takes the picture to this television is somehow or other not set up correctly, or if it's broken and not working correctly, this becomes not much more than a very expensive, black, empty picture frame. Why? Because it needs a clear signal to function. And your body works the same way. It needs a clear neurological symptom, a clear neurological signal for every one of those organs in your body to function. And without a clear neurological signal, your body can't function properly and you can't be healthy. Now, how do you know if you have spinal nerve interference? Well, the only way to assure a nervous system free of interference is with a comprehensive chiropractic exam that includes a spinal exam, a nerve function test, and a digital x-ray of the affected parts of the spine. So add that to your to-do list if you're not already a chiropractic patient. Now, I've given you a lot of stuff to do today, and I hope that you're excited. I hope you're motivated and eager to get started on your program. When you get home tonight, check your email inbox for the notes from today's talk. They include the recommended amount of vitamins, a brief glossary, and tips to making starting your exercise program more effective and other points to make your journey easier. We also have a Get Healthy Passport for each one of you to help you get started. The Get Healthy Passport gives you access to discounts on services and products and even meals here at Peabody's and other healthy Michigan restaurants. Remember these points to make your journey even more successful. Small incremental steps. Take one behavior and improve it a little bit, and then the next, and then the next. Of course, if we waited like my 72-year-old patient, you might want to bump up your schedule a little bit. 21-day rule. Practice a good habit for 21 days, and it will become a lifelong, long life habit. Number 3, get support. Accept accountability. Help someone that you love form a good health habit, and it will be easier for you. And number 4, set a measurable goal. Set a specific weight to achieve, a distance to walk, an exercise schedule to keep, something with numbers on it so that you know when you get there. Nobody ever achieved a goal that they didn't set. And most importantly, stick to it, because really that's the only way that you're going to get healthy, and we want you to get healthy. Now I want to thank you all for being here tonight and letting us share my passion with you, which is a vision of you being healthier than you are even tonight. Now, we've designed the Get Healthy Passport to encourage you to make important changes in your lifestyle, and we have one for each one of you here tonight. Now, while the Peabody staff is serving our dinner, let's start with this table over here to my left, and I want you to step over here. Go ahead and stand up. And I want you to step over here to where our nutritionist Darcy is. Darcy, wave to everybody. Okay, so step over to Darcy, and Darcy will activate a passport for you. And then when they're done, I want this table to follow them, and we'll just go all the way around the room. Thank you all again for being here, and let's get healthy, Michigan.